Hey, it's Victoria, and I'm here in my basement for another Merlin's Vault video. Don't worry, it's my basement, not my mother's. Hers is a lot less cobwebby and way bigger. So today I wanted to go through my Yu-Gi-Oh deck, as well as what I learned from participating in my first YCS tournament, and where I'm kind of going from there with it. So let's get started. First of all, if you hadn't guessed, I like dinosaurs a lot, so that is the deck that I ran, mainly with the ultimate Conductor Tyrano. I have two of those in my deck, and I was just gonna pull some of my other ones that I had. So if you're not familiar, ultimate Conductor Tyrano, he's my big guy who's in my basic deck that I love to get out because he does all sorts of things for me. I do run a few fossil digs as well, so that definitely helps me with it. Yeah, I got a lightning storm in there and a couple ash blossoms. Clay did add in, after I finally got him to, the Dino Wrestler Pinkertops. Yeah, Pinkertops, that's how you say that. So he's cool. I like him as well. The big ones that I look for when I am doing this, that I'm always in search of, are my soul-eating omniraptors, and I do have 3 of those in here. I also do run a couple scrap raptors, and I'll talk about those and what I do with them. Obviously, double evolution pill certainly helps me out. We're going to talk about Lost World in a second. And then the staples that are in any good dinosaur deck, you're going to have, I always call them the babies. So I run 3 baby Cerasauruses, and then I run just a couple of the Petreodons here. So I always call them my babies. The baby Ceratosaurus is any dinosaur that is a level 4 or lower, and then the Petreodon is any dinosaur that is level 4 or above. So I typically go for the babies more because the majority of what I'm really needing is 4 or lower. It's really 4 most of the time. I had some other cards in my deck before YCS, and then since YCS, I have pulled those out. The first one being are the token collectors. I was running 2 of those. I honestly rarely ever drew them. I don't know why. It was like strange odds with that. But before YCS, I really never drew them. So they never got to really play them, and I didn't do much with them. During YCS, I couldn't get the token out there and for it to actually stay so I could use my token collector. So at that point, I just side decked them and then pulled in some other stuff. Because of that, I just decided I'm done with them. So they are in my extra deck. I think they're pretty cool, but I've really never gotten to use them. That was my first thing that I felt like I learned there. It was just, if you're not using it, get rid of it because it's just wasting space and you've got plenty of other cards that you want to do stuff with. Another thing that I had in my deck that I really never used was polymerization. So with that one, I was trying to fusion summon. Really, the only fusion summon that I was looking for was the Transcendosaurus Gigatozauler, this guy, who's really fun, and I like him a lot, but there's a lot of other really good ones that I try to go for first. So the biggest ones that I'm always looking for are the Scrap Wyvern and the Evil Czar. So I've got Lars, Dolka, and Lagia, which all do similar things, and they're easy to get because they're just an XYZ summon. So that's a bit easier for me to do than the polymerization, fusion summoning. They have that extra material so I can constantly do stuff. The biggest thing that I learned at YCS were the other decks were able to do so much more during my turn than mine ever could. Is this the most competitive deck? Absolutely not. If you are wanting to win your championship or just always know that you're going to win, this is not the deck. I just really like them, one, because I think the dinosaurs are fun. There are some chain things that I can do that once I pop it off, it can really go and it's really cool. I was winning a lot when I was playing against friends, as well as free play at Gen Con. When I did that, I won basically every time. At YCS, I never once won. Again, there's a difference. This is a free play, you know, fun type of deck, but I would like to make it obviously a bit more competitive. So I have tweaked some things in there. Again, one being some of the cards that I have removed. So since YCS, I have added in some of the Xeno Meteorus, I think you say that. So I've added in a couple of these guys. And along with that, I have Ground Xeno as well too. So they are, in my mind, taking the place of my polymerization, the Ground Xeno specifically, because I'm not using that in my deck at all anymore. I've also added in a Small World as well. So this is another spell. This one is going to allow me to do some banishing, and I have a very specific card that I do like to banish. Banishing just sounds so harsh, but I do really want to banish this one. So I run one Giant Rex, and with this guy, he's pretty cool. He's pretty, I like the art. It's very like nostalgic dinosaur book art for me. Had a lot of those as a kid. He can't attack directly to my opponent. Fine, there's usually other stuff out on the field that I can. But if this card is banished, you can special summon it, and when it does, it gains an extra 200 attack. So with Small World, where you are supposed to be banishing a card, and then you can get out something that is the same type, attribute, level, attack, or defense, you can then bring that out after you banish this. So it's like getting a free card for me, because this guy's just going to come back out in defense position. So it's like, why not? That's easy. So these two, I've kind of comboed those together. I love that. And then the Scrap Raptors that I run, I've got 2 of them in my deck in hopes that I can get it off. Actually, I added a third. I was running 2, but I did add a third one. Super shiny. So I've got those. And what I try to do with the Scrap Raptors can pop themselves. So that goes in my graveyard. I can pull out my Scrap Chimera, and then this guy can bring back that Scrap Raptor. So again, I'm either destroying or banishing, like when I did with the Giant Rex, but in this case just destroying the Scrap Raptor, only just to bring out another card. I was finding I need to do a lot more of that and not just rely on just 1 or 2 cards that are coming out each turn, because I got, like I said, destroyed at YCS. Again, first time, learned a lot, would definitely go back, and I'd love to see how much better I do then. But I was trying to get those out, and then I can get out the Scrap Wyvern. I can pull, if I've got other dinosaurs out, then I can combine this guy, because he's not super high in attack. He's only 1700, but if I pull him back out, or pull him out, then I could combine some others, and maybe I get a higher level, you know, Link monster out, or something else out as well too. So I'm looking to do more of that in one turn. So both on Master Duel and then my deck that I was running, I was using 3 miscellaneous Sauruses. Well, you can't do that when you're doing the tournament. So I could only use the 1, and that definitely hurt me. I should have practiced more with just the 1 in there, and I just put away my other 2 in case I can ever use all of them again. But it is a very high-powered one, and I had to make more decisions about when I actually wanted to use it and its quick effect. Before, didn't have to as much, because I was like, well, there's going to be another one, or I've got plenty of search engines in my deck to then find more if need be. I also learned that I have got to start naming my chains when I'm doing them. And again, I've only ever just done free play, just casually playing before. So I never really made an effort to be like, okay, this is chain 1, this is chain 2. Well, obviously that screwed me over when we were playing at YCS. And I learned that particularly when I'm getting ready to put out Lost World, which is a huge game changer for me if I can get that out. I'm going to want to get it out as soon as possible. This lets me do a lot of things, and I could get it out multiple times. I did basically every round, but people had stuff to negate it, or they'd screw me over when I'd pull out my soul-eating Omniraptor. So I found that if I getting ready to lay out this one and then this one, to definitely name chain 1, chain 2 before I start trying to pop off and do soul-eating Omniraptor can do. So learn that. Definitely name your chains. Very, very important. And I won't be making that mistake again. I've also added to my deck a terraforming. This is to also help me get more of my Lost World out. So I'm hoping that I can get it out sooner, because there were a few times just I never drew it, and it makes a world of difference for me when I actually have it. And I did notice that when I was able to get it out, my opponent was always very much trying to figure out how to get rid of this. I could tell they got a little sweatier when this one would come out, so I was happy for it. Hoping that will help as well, and I'm wanting to add in another Lost World since I'm only running with one, and obviously once it's gone, it's gone. So I need to get another one so I can start using it more. I did start using the Pot of Prosperity, so it's very key. I don't use everything in my extra deck. There's quite a few cards in here that I've never actually played, and I'll be real honest, I'm not sure how, and I need to work on that. But I definitely want to have a full extra deck, so that way I can utilize the potential of the Pot of Prosperity in there. So you draw anywhere from 3 to 6 cards from your extra deck. You draw 3 to 6 cards from your extra deck, and then you get to draw that same amount from your regular deck, and you get to use one of that, and then you place the rest of them on the bottom. So then you know roughly what's on your bottom of your deck, but also you do get another card. And for me, I'm always needing more cards in my hand. I don't have a ton where I'm drawing a lot of cards. That's not what my deck does, but it does do a lot of chains. So if I can get all of the cards that I need, or a specific one to start a new chain, that's great. So I like the Pot of Prosperity for that. And again, I do keep a full extra deck, but I'm not using all of it. There's just a few that I particularly like. My biggest combo that I kept trying to do and I didn't get a ton of, but I'm hoping with these new cards that I have in my deck, I'm able to get off this chain. So the biggest one being, you need an Adorned Archosaurus to pop either one of the babies. So this little guy or the Pterodon one. Pterodon? I don't know where the emphasis is on that, but I think they're pretty cute. And we don't say destroyed. We say we're just gonna pop the leg. Just pop it. That way they're still cute. I have a problem with destroying dinosaurs. They're just gonna hang out in someplace different. That's what we're gonna do. So if I can get this out, this can pop one of these, and then starts off that chain, and I can get a bigger dinosaur out doing that. Love that. Also with this guy, he can get me my double evolution pill, which I definitely need to get out my ultimate Conductor Tyrano. I love when that guy comes out. He's super cool. If you're not familiar with him, I know I showed him earlier, but I just love him so much. He is on my playmat. I have the Dinosaurs playmat, so it does go along with it. And side note, that was pretty funny. I was wearing my dinosaur sweatshirt that I actually got married in, and little dinosaur earrings. I had my dinosaur playmat, and my first opponent was like, oh, it's pretty cool, we got a lot of dinosaurs. And I go, yeah, so I guess you know what my deck is. And he was like, oh, wait, really? I'm like, yes. I have a lot of dinosaurs, I like them. The Ultimate Conductor Tyrano, he is great. He can't be normal summoned, so he's got to be special summoned. So I can either do that by, if he's already in my hand, I can just do that by sending 2 from my graveyard over to the Banish Zone. Or if he's somewhere in my deck, this Adorned Archosaurus with the double evolution pill, I can get him out from the actual deck and into my hand, and then a special summon. He doesn't even have to be summoned, right? If I have another card on the field that I'm willing to destroy, then he can turn all of my opponent's cards face down in defense position. And when he attacks defense position monsters, he can do multiple, so he could do all of them. He deals an extra 1,000 damage to my opponent. So I want this guy out as fast as possible, obviously, so he can do a lot of the damage. And love that it's piercing damage to my opponent. I feel a lot better about my deck. I've got my staple cards that I love, working on those combos. Things can really pop off if I'm getting the right mixture in. So I'm excited to now play with it. I haven't played with it as is. I've just done some test runs with clay, but I'm really needing to play the full extent of all of this to see how it's gonna work. For my side deck, I've got Infinite and Permanence. I had a few of those. I never really got a chance to use them during YCS, and again when I was free playing, so they just kind of like, all right, I'm putting it in the side deck for now. I've got a Call to the Grave, and then I've got some kaijus, which during my second match, I think it was round 2, that I pulled in some of my kaijus, and I've got Godarla, the Mystery Dust kaiju, and Doggerin, the Mad Flame kaiju. I pulled those in, but I never got a chance to use them. I never drew them before the match ended, so these two. But I would be excited to actually get to play with them, and I've done it in, again, some test running, but I've never actually gotten to use them in a real match. So we'll see on that. Token collectors, I just side decked those because maybe someday. I mean, he's pretty cute, a little goblin guy. So I've got those. I've got a Monster Reborn. That one's not bad, but I do like to have some of my monsters in the graveyard because the Miscellaneous Saurus at any time that it's in the graveyard can banish any number of dinosaurs that I want from my graveyard to my banished card zone, and then I get to draw a card that's at the same level or less than that. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's not bad to have it to pull in a dinosaur that I've wanted that's in there, but really it's not a bad thing for me to have dinos in my deck there, because then I can pull out something else that's bigger. So I was like, just side deck it. Dark Ruler No More, never used it, so I just side decked that one. Same with Evenly Matched. I'll be showing you some of these. Dark Hole, did get to use this one. That one was pretty cool. I had a Dark Hole and I had a Lightning Storm in my first hand for my first match, so that was fun. I just Dark Holed all of his monsters, and then I did Lightning Storm on his traps and spells. It was really cool. It was like just resetting everything, so that was great. I did side deck this one because I got a couple more Lightning Storms, so we'll see. We'll see if I want to put the Dark Hole back in. I don't know yet. And then the Piri Reese map, if I'm saying that correctly. This one isn't bad because it talks about add one monster with a 0 attack from your deck to your hand. So that for me would be the Armored Archosaurus, which like I said is really great for me to have to start popping those babies to get out my double evolution pill plus a monster, depending on which one I use at whatever level that one says. So this one's not bad, but I've got other ways of doing that without specifically calling out a 0 attack level. So I'm just gonna see. I didn't really, mainly it's spells and traps that I've side decked. So I'd like to see how this works. My deck is no traps, just FYI. For anyone who's wanting to play against me, there's no traps, there's spells, and a lot of it's just getting me to look through more of my deck to get out the cards that I'm actually looking forward to doing my whole, chains to pop off on. So it's a lot of monsters, and I will be intrigued if this works, if I like it. Because I'd like to get my dinosaur one down where I feel like, hey, this is really solid. This is the best that it's going to be. I don't expect it to win tournaments, but again, I just, like to have fun with it. So I will see how this works. I'd be curious to also start really putting together another deck. I have started some others. Like I've said, I was pulling a lot of Brothers of Legend to get Karibos to do a Karibo deck. Also not a competitive deck either. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing with those. Again, I don't play to necessarily win every time. I play to have a good time. And that was something that Clay had mentioned too, where he was like, you played a deck that your opponents definitely had fun playing against. So I had fun with that too. They were, thinking, because they knew a lot of these dinosaurs and knew a lot of the combos that could happen from them. So they were like, oh crap, she's starting one, so we gotta stop that. So I just need to play more and learn more of the other cards as well. People were playing some pretty new stuff that I had not heard of. That was also very expensive. So my deck's about like $40. It's not very expensive, but I'd be happy to actually do a playthrough of it with Clay. We could do one of his decks. He's got a few. He could do the one that he ran at YCS and could show you how it goes down with it. I haven't played his since he's updated it either from the tournament, so I'd like to see how this compares against that. This has just been a little bit on my deck profile, what I learned from YCS. It was a really good day overall. Played a few rounds, was not expecting again to go very far. It was my first time. People were excited to talk to me. They definitely wanted to know how I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! I told them I've not been playing for very long, but I've always loved games. Hadn't been as much into card games, so I'm happy to be getting into that. And then there were some booths there for trading as well as just buying some new cards. So we did get some. We got Edward one, so I can't wait for him to get that in the mail. He'll probably have already gotten it at this point. Yeah, I'd like to think so. I don't edit these within the next day, that's for sure. I think that's about it. So let me know if you have questions on my deck in general, if you have thoughts on what I could be doing better or different with my deck. Let me know. I think the best thing is just to see it in action. Right now, I have made a giant mess of all my cards everywhere, so this looks great. But let me know what decks you're running, how your life's going, just whatever you want in the comments below, and have a good day. It's been Victoria with Merlin's Vault. Bye.